Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Did we just lose that entire nearly 20% pump in XRP that happened the other day? Because I'm seeing a lot of people say that the answer is yes. And it's not yes. It's almost yes. We almost lost all of it. But I gotta talk to you about a few things because there are things going on here. There's been warnings that we're going to be seeing a move to the downside. This is not something XRP specific. Bitcoin, yes, has been moving down today, though recently there's been a little bit of a pop. And there's also, actually in this case, a reasonable news catalyst. As you well know, I hope at this point, unless you're brand new, and then you get a free pass. You know, crypto assets are risk-on assets. Equities, those are risk-on assets. They get treated about the same. So when there's scary news in the world, they get treated about the same. I know that, the toxic Bitcoin maxis out there like to pretend that reality is not reality. They'll say that's not so. No, Bitcoin is the most pure form of money, and it is treated differently. But there's just no evidence to support this. It moves with equities. It just does. So we got some bad news that shook the stock market today. Not surprising to see Bitcoin is going to move down. Now, it's continued down a fair bit before popping up a little bit, at least at the time that I'm recording this. There are also some concerns even prior to this that it was going to happen. So if this is the straw that broke the camel's back and then it needed to go down, have a bit of a flush to the downside, okay, maybe that's the case. But either way, just to be clear at the outset here, this is not some sort of doomsday video. Oh, no. The best is yet ahead. See, this is nothing. I've been through way worse dips in bull markets than this. This is a big nothing in the end. The best is yet ahead. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it is 4:19 p.m. Central Time, Thursday, March 14th, 2024. XRP is 66.8 cents. Bitcoin, $70,975. Market cap for the asset class, 2.71 trillion. And so even on the whole, even though we're on the whole down over the last 24 hours on that metric, 2.7, the highest I recall seeing the entire asset class, the market cap, I'm pretty sure it was about 3.2 trillion. That's pretty incredible. And I'm assuming we're going to dwarf that by the time we hit the top of the cycle, whatever that's going to be. Some people think it's 5 trillion. Some people think it's 10 trillion. I'm not even going to bother guessing. I'd just be making crap up. But suffice it to say, I would agree much higher, right? Here you have the Crypto Fear and Greed Index at 88 out of 100. That's extreme greed, but it only updates once every 24 hours. So I'm assuming it's going to be a fair bit lower when it updates in 2 hours and 39 minutes. That would be my guess. That's probably a pretty safe guess, right? And so here's the headline from CNBC. Wholesale inflation rose 0.6% in February, much more than expected. Wholesale prices accelerated at a faster than expected pace in February. Another reminder that inflation remains a troublesome issue for the U.S. economy. The Producer Price Index, which measures pipeline costs for raw, intermediate, and finished goods, jumped 0.6% on the month, the Labor Department's Bureau of Labor Statistics reported Thursday. That was higher than the 0.3% forecast from Dow Jones and comes after a 0.3% increase in January. Excluding food and energy, the core PPI accelerated by 0.3% compared with the estimate for a 0.2% increase. Another measure that also excludes trade services rose 0.4% compared with the 0.6% gain in January and was above the estimate for a 0.2% advance. So you get the idea. Not so great. Inflation definitely worse than what people were expected. Spooked the market. And there was so here's a headline after the stocks closed for the day. The stock market's closed for the day. Dow closes more than 100 points lower, snaps 3-day win streak after hot inflation report. Here you can see the S&P 500 down 0.29%, which, in crypto that would be like, what do you mean 0.29%? That's like less than a second's difference, like compared to the previous price. Like, I understand that's a little bit more of a something, nothing completely disastrous, but it's a little bit more of a something when you're talking about equities, which do not have that kind of volatility, obviously. So as soon as the news broke at 7:30 a.m. Central Time, 8:30 Eastern, right after that, Bitcoin just started tanking. And that's what you see. This is a 24-hour chart of Bitcoin. It just tanked to the bottoming out. at about, let's see, what time is this? 2:45 p.m. Central at $68,877, and it has popped up a little bit since then. XRP did the same thing, not surprising to see. Bottomed out at 64.3 cents right at the same time. But, you know, as far as what some people were saying, like, see, XRP, it just evaporated its whole increase of about 20% a few days ago. That's literally not true. I mean, you can see at the moment it really started taking off. You know, XRP was 62.5 cents. We didn't quite get that low. Or if you look at here, just right at 62 cents. And I also remember the 24-hour low for that period, as it was running up to over 74 cents, was 59 cents. So that was a 15 cent jump in that 24-hour period. So no, it didn't get all taken back. But I would say this, even if that had happened, or even if it does happen, which of course I acknowledge is possible, I don't care. Because what people have been saying is XRP's dead, it's not going to go, it's the one coin that's not going to run. And then you get a 20% jump, roughly, in a 24-hour period. Actually, that was in just over an hour. Let me tell you this. That is not something that happens if Bitcoin's not leading the way. That is not something that happens if we're not in a bull market. And if XRP weren't going to participate in this bull market, stuff like that wouldn't happen. You just can't. So even if it all gets taken back, which, of course, again, I acknowledge is possible, so what? Does that not prove it's alive? You just don't get to choose when it runs. You know? It's the same type of bitching that happened the last market cycle, and it's the same type of bitching that happened the market cycle before that. People just don't like it, and so they're screaming on the internet, which is everyone's God-given right. There's bitch up a storm on the internet. That's what my YouTube's channel for, so I get it, man. Just to complain about stuff. It's fantastic. It's cathartic, right? Here's a post from chart analyst Josh Rager, and he shared this at 10:51 a.m. well after Bitcoin started tanking to the downside and all of crypto. Peak top far from in for Bitcoin, in my opinion, but still believe a decent-sized pullback still comes prior to Bitcoin halving, which is around April 19th. And so I'm just showing a few examples because there are lots of analysts that have been calling for this. And yes, this happened after the recent pullback today, but I even shared you a couple yesterday. We're warning, just so you know, could see a move to the downside. Here's a post from Rect Capital and chart analyst. 3:52 a.m. posted this so well before the decline today started. And he said, we are here. And he said, it's just kind of interesting to see where we are, Bitcoin Liquid Index. And actually, you know, before I forget, I wanted to say this too. You know, what time was it? Like 11:45 p.m. We hit 2 all-time highs in one day, right? Like it was, here, let's see where this was. It was probably right around here, right? Was it around, yeah, there you go. So around 2 in the morning. I think that was the high anyway. Yeah, that was it. So around 2 in the morning Central Time, hit an all-time high, and then people are flipping out. So over almost $74,000, $73,775. And then we get this news. Bitcoin does predictably what it does when, you know, risk-on assets get treated the same regardless of what the fundamentals are. Goes to the downside, and people flip out. It doesn't make logical sense, but this is just how people behave. And then there's also this post from Rec Capital. This was at 10 a.m., so after Bitcoin started to decline. He said, whenever Bitcoin breaks its old all-time high, price doesn't just enter an uninterrupted uptrend. Historically, Bitcoin has experienced lots of upside and downside volatility around old all-time highs. But once that volatility resolves itself, ... price discovery awaits. And so that is the moment of time that we're in right now. But at some point, if we're going to keep seeing this bull market rage on, which I have every expectation it will, personally, then yeah, at some point it breaks through with conviction. And so whatever happens here in the short term, however low it goes, you have to expect it. You have to. It's part of it. There's 15 years worth of data showing you that this is normal, even during bull markets. 15 years worth of data. So the fact that the 15 years of data is being consistent in that regard today should not scare you. That doesn't make logical sense. That's just your feels getting the best of you. Here's a post from Crypto Insight UK at 11:26 a.m. this morning. Bullish divergence forming on Bitcoin. And indeed, at least recently, we've been seeing it move up in recent hours. There was this post also from Crypto Insight UK at 9:48 a.m. Again, also after XRP and Bitcoin, whole crypto market started to go to the downside. He said, serious liquidity building above us on XRP. There's still a lot below, so the path isn't clear, but we will head to 76 cents soon, I feel. Yeah, and so even if we have to sweep some lows first, yeah, the market's going to be way bigger. I mean, unless you think Bitcoin isn't going to go, like, this is the top and it all just falls apart. I don't believe that for a second. So you better believe if the market's going to get bigger, XRP will continue to be a part of it. And again, lots of people waiting to buy above. Look at that liquidity above. That's what he's talking about. Then there's this. Here we go. Not much has changed since my last post below. This is Credible Crypto. We are currently trading a bit lower than when I shared it. Metrics all look the same at the moment. For now, if we hold here for another higher low, we could stair step it up for another leg to $75,000 plus as pictured below. But still doesn't change much. Alts may leg up if Bitcoin continues grinding up, but if/when we do get the pullback pictured, you'll probs want to have some ammo ready to buy some dips. And so he's not saying for sure Bitcoin in the short term is going to be tanking to the downside, but he's warning, yeah, actually it's possible. You know, it could be getting as low as, what would you call that green box? You know, lower 60,000s roughly. But his conviction doesn't change. He's just acknowledging this happens in bull markets. This is not a time to be afraid. Then he had this to say about XRP. This is an XRP USD chart. So look, if Bitcoin does go down to that range, don't be surprised if XRP goes along for the ride as well. Either way, it's very clear XRP is alive and well. And it's not just the price metric that tells you that. Look at real world adoption. Pick a metric, son. Look at wallets over the last 5 years, consistently increasing even despite the unfortunate era where the SEC was claiming that XRP was a security before getting ruled against on that particular fact. Still just trending to the upside. Like, all of the activity, developer to everything's been trending to the upside. And so all of this makes for the perfect storm. With hot markets, even though today's fine, it's a little bit down. So what? Everything's perfectly aligning. This is great. I mean, almost everything anyway. And so here's what Credible Crypto had to say about XRP. If I hadn't just added to my XRP position 3 days ago, I'd be adding to it in the green zone below. Probably the best chance to add if/when we get it before our major breakout on XRP. And that range that he's citing might scare some people. In case you're not looking at the screen, I'll just note that that green box that he's saying we might get is XRP priced at 58 cents on the low end to 64 cents on the high end. So for people that want to accumulate, if you severely want to accumulate, I never get this idea of like, whether it's 58 cents or 64 cents, once it's $10, it's not going to matter that much. If we are right about XRP running, and say it actually does run to $10, and nobody knows for sure if it will, but if it does, if you bought XRP at 58 cents or 64 cents, is it gonna frickin' matter? Are we serious about this? And so some people, if they're accumulating, they're very picky about that stuff. And then people who aren't accumulating, they get fearful about this stuff, like 58 cents. Oh, shit, I'm at 10. Like, come on. Again, even with XRP specifically, a decade of history showing that this is just what happens. Like, the fear, again, I understand why. I understand. I'm a human. You're human. I understand humans and why they respond this way. It's not necessary is what I'm saying. It's not logical based on real world data. A lot of times when people get afraid, it's due to an absence of knowledge. If you just have the knowledge that this stuff is normal, then when it happens, you can recognize, oh yeah, it's stupid to feel emotions on this, so I'm just not going to, because it doesn't make sense. Then there's this chart from analyst Matthew Hyland. Bitcoin weekly candle close is all important here. And he noted this 16 hours ago. Bitcoin weekly, ultimately looking for a candle close above $69,420, last cycle's high. It would be very bullish sign if it can close above this. Yeah, and I'll note that the other day, by the way, Bitcoin actually did have its highest daily close in history. So the fact that sometimes stuff moves to the downside, it's like, we actually going to be scared about that? Also take a look at, and this is one of the fun, it's just one more thing to look at for fun. In terms of Google Trends, looking at how many people are searching for Bitcoin. Well, look at this headline from Bloomberg. Bitcoin tops Taylor Swift, Beyonce in Google search. I don't need to read the article. Frankly, the headline does a sufficient job of conveying the only important information, to be honest with you. But it's kind of silly to compare Bitcoin to Google searches for Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Apple and orange, man. Not exactly the same thing. That said, I am looking at this because it's fun. So here's a 5-year chart showing Bitcoin searches on Google. And you won't be surprised to see where these spikes are. But even now, even recently, with the new all-time highs, people are not searching for Bitcoin. You know, it's so fast. I understand a lot of money's been flowing in, and it's institutional money, and so things have been moving to the upside. Fantastic, love to see it. But it's just not getting the love from the normies out there and in mainstream media. It's getting some. It's getting more than it was. I mean, you can see that in the charts, but it's just nowhere near the peak of even the last cycle. And then you know, if you're like me, maybe you care about altcoins a lot more than Bitcoin. In which case, you might be curious about when are people Google searching how to buy crypto? Well, this chart is even better because it's even further behind. Because the people that want to buy crypto, it's not just about Bitcoin. It's about, you know, being a degen and getting into all the other stuff, all the altcoins, really. And so here's Google Trends showing you the search term buy crypto over the last 5 years. Look at where we are here. That's nothing. And look at where we were in the peak in the last cycle in 2021. It's not even close. So people have been Google searching Bitcoin because it has been a bit in the news with the ETF stuff and with the recent highs. There's been some, not a crazy amount. There's no laser eyes and diamond hands and Kim Kardashian, you know, pumping S-word coins and Paris Hilton doing whatever the hell she does with, what the hell, what was she propping up last time with her NFTs or S-word coins? I don't know. But my point is, the celebrities, they're not even here. They're not paying attention. Most not, anyway. And so people aren't looking for the altcoins, which is what matters more to me personally. Look at how few people are searching for buy crypto. It's almost no one. I'm telling you guys, like, either we're going to have an alt cycle or we're not. And I firmly believe that's what's most probable. So, you know, on days like this, whatever, like, I'm still having a blast because I have a very strong suspicion of what's ahead. And I love tracking the stuff on a daily basis. Like, I have fun even during bear markets, and we're in a bull market, so I'm having, like, fun on steroids, frankly. And I love running this YouTube channel. So thank you very much, everybody, for all the support. I do very, very genuinely appreciate the support. I've been doing this over half a decade now. And I didn't know when I started, I didn't know I'd be doing it half a decade later and having all this support. So I'm very thankful. But I hope that all of you out there are having as much fun as me and not feeling fearful on a day like this. Like, we're sitting pretty. You know, it's not like this is November 2022 and FTX just collapsed. No, we're in pretty good shape here, folks. I'm just not worried. I'm really not worried. I can't control what happens in the short term. Neither can you. But if you believe, as I do, that the asset class just gets bigger, if you believe that we're in a bull run and we're not near the top, then who cares? This stuff just happens. And so, no, we did not lose the entire XRP 20% pump. We just lost most of it. But again, who cares? It doesn't matter. There's nothing wrong with XRP. XRP is just moving in tandem with the market. And if you want to be precise, it's still above it. For that 24-hour period that was relevant, the day it happened, that low was 59 cents. And it's now it's almost 67 cents. The low for that time period was 59 cents. Who cares? It doesn't matter. But I see people bitching up a storm. People writing comments on the videos that I posted last night. See, I can't even sustain. I'm like, guys, stop it. Doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. It's just to see the people responding like this. I'm like, this is why people get shaken up. This is why people miss their opportunity for life-changing wealth. It's that type of mentality. Because if you can't handle that and that causes you to write silly things on the internet like that, how do you make it when there's actually truly consequential major negative moves? Like, were these people typing this stuff here in November of 2022? And if so, did they just panic sell everything? I just don't get it. Don't make no. Well, I mean, I get, but it doesn't make logical sense. That's the argument I'm making. We'll keep tracking it. I'll be back with some more a little bit later this evening, but I'll stop here for now. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.